an image of a big cruise ship. And it looks like, you know, how back in the days, when there's like a maiden voyage, everybody is there by the dock, even strangers. They gather to come and see the ship take off. So even if they don't know any of the passengers aboard, they still gather to, just because, you know, it's such a rare sight. And so all the passengers, they have their little handkerchief, and I guess like they're waving goodbye, or they're waving, just waving to the people on the docks. And then everyone in the dock, on the docks, is waving and wishing well to their loved ones that might be on the ship, or they just gather there to see this big spectacle of a ship take off because it's such a rare event. It's a very joyous image that I got. So I feel like some of you could physically be traveling, traveling to an area, possibly by the water, traveling by boat. And the word maiden voyage keeps coming up. So I feel as if some of you are embarking on something new, or contemplating a big trip, or even, you know, planning for it. Some of you could already be taking this trip, or you're in massive anticipation for this new thing in your life to start. Okay, so overall it looks really hopeful, very beautiful. What I'm seeing here, how this energy plays out in this spread, is I feel like for many of you there is a project that you have been working on for a very long time. Okay, and I almost feel like this project is very trying. It's a situation where a lot of things are riding on it. A lot of things are riding on it. So that means, for example, you might have started a business, and you're waiting for the business to really start to take off. There has been a lot of start and stops along the way, and you're so emotionally invested in it. There's a lot of time devoted to it. There's a lot of energy and effort expended to kind of get this situation off the ground. And I almost feel like for some of you, all your hopes are in, you know, all your eggs are in one basket. If this thing takes off, I'm going to, you know, be on top of the world. If this thing flounders, I might be in a lot of debt, or I might be in a situation that I don't want to be in. And so I feel for you that, and because, you know, you're a fixed sign, whenever you put a lot of energy, amount of time, and sunk cost into something, failure for you is not really an option. Okay, so whatever hurdles, whatever obstacles you've had to overcome, you don't have a choice. You just blast through them. But I feel like every time there's a problem, or there's a little snag in the road, it kind of corrodes your emotional state just a little bit. And what I mean by that is, yes, failure for you is not an option. And you understand that, you know, I'm going to get through this. I'm going to blast through it. And, you know, the end is in sight. It's very close to completion. That's what it feels like to me. But with every single obstacle, with every single thing that comes up, I feel like it upsets you. And I almost feel like if you were to start this off from the very beginning, you were very starry-eyed and very hopeful. And then along the way, I feel like you become a little bit more jaded, or you become a little bit more realistic. And at this point, you're just like, I just want to get it done. So I feel almost like, you know, the emotional investment has been draining. And I also feel like you're less and less emotionally invested in it. You just want to get it done and over with, okay? So the reason why I say that is I have here the Seven of Pentacles. It's a situation where, once again, it's almost to the Ten of Pentacles. It's very close to completion, okay? You possibly could have like another 3 months left. Like, it's barren, like it's not really bearing fruit. And at the same time, right next to the Queen of Cups, you started it It's like your love child. You started it with a lot of passion, with a lot of, it's like, oh my gosh, if I get this off the ground, I'm going to be so happy. All your eggs were in one basket with this specific situation, and you were very hopeful, very starry-eyed, and you were giving your 100% to this situation. 100%. And I feel for many of you, this is something a little bit more personal. It's not love so much. I feel like it's a little bit more personal. For some of you, this could be like some type of a work project. You spent a tremendous amount of time getting it done. And I keep seeing somebody going back to check on results, going back like every day, going back to mark down results, to check on results. And then I also feel like for many of you, this is like a long cherished dream. Okay, so for example, you wanted to be a teacher. Let's use like a more difficult example. So for example, you wanted to be a lawyer, and you study day and night. You sacrifice your social life in order to, get through the 4 years of law school. I'm sorry, I think it's 2 years. Well, whatever the amount is, you might have been doing it part-time just to get through it. And then, right after, you have to study for the bar exam. You've made a lot of sacrifices to get this thing off the ground. There might have been a lot of financial sunk cost invested in it as well. And it's gotten to the point where, there might be like a bad grade in one of the exams or one of the classes, or even a bad score on the bar exam. And I feel like it's really left you feeling every single setback. It has really been emotionally unsettling. And then with every day that goes by, you're less and less and less emotionally invested in it. It's left you a little bit jaded. And I also feel like it's left you wondering too, like, if it's meant for me, why is it so difficult? If it's meant for me, why isn't it a bed of roses? If it's meant for me, why isn't it a good fit? Why doesn't it just work out? Why isn't it smooth? Why are there so many roadblocks and so many obstacles and so many setbacks? Is this thing really, really meant for me? And so it's sort of those situations where if it's like a long cherished dream, and we have wanted it since we were, very, very, very young. And if things don't pan out the way that we want, and especially being a fixed sign, we're very fixated on the things that we pursue. So this is not an endeavor that you took on lightly. You knew the consequences. You knew the sacrifices that you had to make, and you were ready, you were willing, and happily willing to do it because you knew that the result would be worth it. The result will change the trajectory of your life. And because of it, that the setbacks, in the greater scheme of things, the setbacks are not really that big, but I feel like it's really making you question, if I'm on the right path, why are things so difficult? And so the advice that's coming into the picture for you, you have success. No matter what, it's going to pan out the way that you envision it. It requires a little bit more tweaking, but don't give up on this because it is going to pan out in a very beautiful way. You're going to blast through these obstacles. It's teaching you to be a little bit more versatile. It's teaching you to be a little bit more like flexible and to be more patient as well. So if anything, I feel like this is one of those really strong karmic destined situation because not only is it teaching you about, hard work and determination and blasting through obstacles, but it's really teaching you to be very realistic, and at the same time, be flexible enough to kind of change your priorities in order to accommodate these problems, okay, that are coming through. And so I feel like something is very, 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 very close to completion. And once it's done, you're going to be really, really ecstatic that you stuck it out, that your hard work is paying off, and that everything's going to be okay. All right. So with this success card, I feel like it's opening up a brand new journey for you. And it's almost like we have here the Fool, embarking on a new phase in your life, closing out one cycle and starting something over with a lot of hope, a lot of optimism. So I feel like this is a situation that has been, long in the making, and it's really leaving you a little bit like, questioning, am I on the right path? Do I trust my intuition? And then now we end up at ground zero, where you're going to be able to plan the next step. You're going to be able to free yourself from this situation, the obstacles associated with it, as well as coming out of this a lot more stronger, a lot more hopeful, a lot more back in realignment with what you believe that you are destined to do, because new doors are opening for you. Okay. So bear with it. There's going to be so much happiness. Two of Cups here. It is something that's meant for you. It's going to work itself out, and you're going to be overflowing with the realization, confirmation, and knowledge that you're on the right path. All right. So whatever the situation is, try to let it go. For some of you as well, I feel like you are dealing with a water sign. I have here Queen of Cups. And this is a love situation that I'm sensing here. Water sign, Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio. This is a cycle that is closing up with that water sign, the World card. And this is a situation where I feel, water and fire, you guys are the element of fire. There might have been a lot of misunderstandings. There might have been a lot of just lots of passion, lots of chemistry. I feel that. But also different priorities and different goals is what I'm sensing. But I do feel this is somebody that has a great amount of love and commitment towards you. And whatever situation you've been dealing with in the past, I feel almost like you can kind of leave that behind and move on forward together into a new phase. Okay, so if you're dealing with a water sign and there has been just a lot of obstacles and blockages and just clashes, I feel like there are things breaking through that will allow you to kind of mend the situation, come back together, or at least, have a conversation about parting ways, about breaking these cycles, and even if it's not meant to be, leave the relationship so that it's like an amicable parting of the ways, because you have learned, lessons from one another, and the cycle is closing wherein the two of you can move forward with other people. Okay. But I feel like it's going to be a very amicable parting of the ways. In terms of your partner or the person that you're dealing with, whoever it might be, I have as well earth sign and fire sign. So Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. And another fire sign, Sagittarius, Aries, or Leo. So let me talk about a few things. This is what's going on with your significant other, your lover, or the person that you are crushing on, or whoever it is that you're dealing with. And they have possibly the two best cards in the deck. This is the Wheel of Fortune, and this is the World. So right away, I'm seeing some people who might be like professionally just really, 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 really big in their field. Okay, very, very big, like major players. This is somebody who is in a position where they make life or death types of decision. I see a lot of people who might be in the healthcare industry. I see a lot of people who are politicians. I see a lot of teachers. So the partner that you're dealing with, politician, teachers, educators, doctors, let me see, lawyer. I feel like they're in a position of immense power. And the things that they do, it's like it's not an everyday job, okay? It's almost like whatever decision that they make, it has a lot of impact on a lot of other people. Whatever they do in their professional life, it has ramifications. So they're like a major player, not a player. They're like a major, very very vital character in their work environment. Some of them could be, traveling a lot. Some of them could be getting some type of a recognition for their research, for their work, for their contributions to society, for the work that they do. And some of them, they could be in the publishing environment as well. Artists, painters, singers, poets, and I especially see like a lot of even journalists and publishers. Okay, so you've got a really, really potent partner. And I feel like the wheels are moving in motions for them. They could like be supervisors, manager. Their presence in their work environment is very irreplaceable. And I also feel like if you've been feeling a little bit neglected by your partner, it's not really of their doing. It's because they're in such high demand, and the work itself requires a lot of their time and energy. And that's where I feel like their energy is really focused on getting things moving along in their life. And as a result of it, you might feel like you're working behind the scenes, giving them the love and support, or you might feel like they're so in and out of your life, or you might feel a little bit, as well, I feel like a little bit neglected. But just rest assured, this cycle of success and abundance is coming in for them because they've worked really, really tirelessly, and they deserve it. And I almost feel like, you guys are very, very proud to stand by this person. I see a power couple type of a dynamics here with the universe, the world, and the Wheel of Fortune. So this is almost like two people who are really complementary to one another. On the other hand, I also see another person here where I honestly feel like you're carrying the torch for somebody. And you could be in a relationship and you like are still really, really, really attracted to your partner, or you could have a crush and you're just really attracted to this person. And you're feeling very amorous. You feel like you want to spend more time with them. You want to be intimate with them. You want to get physical with them. But for whatever reason, I feel like your partner might not have the time, or they might not be reciprocating in the manner that you'd hope. They might not show. It's like I see somebody who's very restrained, okay? Very regimented, very restrained. And it's somebody that feels passion, but they don't show it the way that you do. It doesn't mean they don't feel it. It just means they have, they have different ways of showing it. So, for example, if you're dealing with an earth sign, Taurus, Virgo, or Capricorn, I feel like, public display of affection might make them feel very, very embarrassed. And rather than telling you, hey, try not to, rather than telling you, it makes me uncomfortable if you become too touchy-feely with me in public. Rather than saying that, they might, you might try to kiss them in public and they might, get embarrassed, and their instinctive response is to kind of push you away. And then you feel jilted. You feel like, oh, that's mean. Why would they do that? Or you feel embarrassed. And so don't lash out in this situation. You definitely need to, voice your concerns, and especially tell them, I feel really hurt when you do that. Or, what's the matter? So that you both can kind of resolve this. I see there's somebody who's very proper, who's like very, very Puritan, very proper, very I see like suppressed sexuality, and I feel like you're coming in really strong, very forceful, very strong, and I feel that it excites them. Secretly, it excites them, but I also feel like they're kind of repressed. maybe they're repressed sexually, and then I also feel like they don't know what to do. You know, it's just too much and they don't know what to do, and they don't really know how to tell you in a delicate way. So I feel like some conversations need to be had here, okay? And I feel like that's for some of you who are newly dating, because if you're in a relationship already, I do see a power couple dynamics where one person's very creative, the other person's like very much on top of their professional game. So like they're, you know, a force to be reckoned with, and then the other person is very, very creative, but both parties seems to be like very in high demand. Whereas like somebody who's just starting to date, or if you're dealing with a crush, you're coming on a little bit too strong for them, especially if you're dealing with an earth sign. And I feel like, you know, they really like you. They want things to blossom and they want things to thrive. But I have this card here, Eight of Pentacles, Prudence. So I feel like it's someone who's very proper, who's a little bit more on the emotionally controlled and emotionally repressed end. And I also feel for those of you who are, you know, let me see how, the message that's coming through. It just slipped my mind. Very, very careful with money, okay? I feel like your partner or whoever you're dealing with, they're planning something big. And they're going to come into a massive financial windfall. It could be like a new job, a bonus, a retainer fee, publishing dues, royalty fee, something really, really big that's going to be coming into the picture. And I feel like that's going to be coming in fast for them, okay? But back to you, Leos. They really do like you. They really do like you. So if there are misunderstandings, try to talk things out. And honestly, you know, it's really hard for us sometimes to, well, most of the time, for anybody, not just you guys, but I feel like it's a fixed sign thing. Whenever somebody makes us feel hurt, okay, through like, it could be unintentional or intentional. But I feel like, you know, your pride is very, very big. And once it's pricked, you feel it. You feel it. And so that might disincentivize you from talking about it because you feel hurt. And I feel like if that's something that's happening with a crush or a relationship partner, you want to, you know, let your pride down and you want to be able to talk about these things, okay? We cannot expect other people to read our minds. We all come from different environments. We all have different likes and dislikes. And it's really important for us to be honest with our communication. And, you know, hey, I feel really hurt when you did this. I know it was like, you know, 2 years ago, but I'm still thinking about it. And I feel really, really hurt when you do it. So, you know, can we talk about that or can we not do it again? Or, you know, please don't do that to me when we're in public. It makes me feel embarrassed, or, you know, it makes me feel like you don't want me. So whatever that conversation is, it needs to be said, okay? Because I feel like you want to bring all these things in the open and you don't want things to fester. Let's just air things out and, you know, don't let things fester, okay? In terms of your advice, Leos, I have here the Two of Cups. And this is the Five of Swords, okay? What I'm feeling is, for some of you, you might have your heart set on a specific thing, like a job or something. And I feel like something else, like it's almost, so an example that I'm seeing here is I feel like you want things a certain way. So, for example, you apply for 3 jobs, right? And of course, you know, you have your order of preferences, okay? And I feel like that first job that is on your radar that you really, really, really want, it's not just about wanting the job. It's kind of like envisioning what that job is going to look like, envisioning that you already have the job, and then you envision how your life is going to change as a result of it. Once we start to go through that process, right? It feels almost like we can't really backtrack. So for example, if you don't get that first job, even though the second job and the third jobs are still phenomenal, If you don't get that first job, it's almost like the sunk cost of envisioning what it's going to be like, how your life is going to change. It has already kind of like taken hold of you, or, you know, the seed has already been planted. So if you don't get that, nothing, you feel like nothing will ever compare to it. But they're really urging you here to, you know, not be so emotionally invested in a situation where you feel like anything that deviates from what you envision is a step down. Okay? So I feel like the advice here is really about enjoying and really taking notice of the blessings that are coming into your life. There's always a plan B. It's never about, you know, right or wrong. It's about being flexible enough to grab new opportunities when they come into the picture. This card is also about balance, okay? Balancing relationships, balancing the things that you love, balancing, you know, the personal with the professional as well. And I feel like there is a job that you really want, that's going to be coming into the picture. And then I also feel for some of you, it's like getting that second choice, but it's still going to pan itself out, and it's still going to be wonderful because, you know, once upon a time you thought it was going to be wonderful, so you might have applied for the job. And so what I'm saying is, whatever obstacles, whatever setbacks, whatever you feel like, you know, I've invested so much time in it, and if it deviates from my plans just a little bit, I can't accept that. Aim to be a little bit more fluid and a little bit more flexible. For you guys, I want to make an announcement before we go. For those of you who are still emailing me regarding private readings, I made an announcement last month, and I'm going to do this again. I am no longer doing private readings for the time being. I am really, really swamped with work. And so if you're interested in booking a reading for yourself or for anybody that you know, I do have a person that I would highly, highly recommend. Her name is Bridget. I've used her services. She's a psychic, and I've used her services for the past 2 years. And she was recommended through a family member of mine that I trust completely. And since then, I've recommended her to all of my friends, all of my family members, and they've said amazing things about her. Okay, and I still use her services. So I've added a link in the description box to her scheduling website. If you click on the description box, you should be able to click on the link wherein you can book a reading for yourself. I highly recommend her. Okay, so Leos, I wish you all the best. Take care, and I will talk to you in about 2 weeks' time if I have the time. If not, then in March. Okay, take care.